Gianni Infantino called them minor inconveniences. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, the man who has described the 2026 World Cup as the greatest event in human history, stood before a room full of reporters and referred to the visa denials, the travel bans, the fan exclusions, and the human wreckage left behind by 3 weeks of immigration chaos at the 2026 FIFA World Cup as minor inconveniences. The fans who lost thousands of dollars in non-refundable hotels, flights, and tickets might describe it differently. Stay with this, because the story of what has happened to ordinary football fans trying to attend the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States is not a story that FIFA wants told clearly, in one place, in full. It is a story that has been unfolding piece by piece, nation by nation, fan by fan. Dismissed each time as an isolated incident, a bureaucratic complication, a matter between a traveler and the US Department of Homeland Security. But when you place every piece of this story side by side, every denied visa, every revoked ticket, every fan who posted the wrong thing on social media and found their World Cup dream canceled by a government algorithm, a single, damning picture emerges. FIFA sold the world a tournament it knew millions of people would not be allowed to attend, and then Gianni Infantino called it a minor inconvenience. To understand the full scale of what happened to fans at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States, you need to go back to June 2025, 12 months before the tournament began, when the second Trump administration enacted a travel ban affecting citizens from 39 countries. The Trump administration's travel ban, announced in June 2025, and expanded in December of that year, prohibited the issuance of new immigrant and non-immigrant visas for citizens of 39 countries. The stated justification from the US State Department was that the move was necessary to ensure that individuals approved for a visa do not endanger national security or public safety. 4 of the countries whose national football teams had qualified for the 2026 World Cup fell under that travel ban. Haiti and Iran faced full entry bans. Ivory Coast and Senegal faced partial restrictions. FIFA knew about the travel ban in June 2025. FIFA knew in December 2025, when the ban was expanded, that millions of potential World Cup fans from those countries would be unable to obtain visas to enter the United States, and FIFA proceeded with the tournament anyway, issuing carve-outs for players and essential coaching staff, while leaving ordinary fans entirely without protection. Jules Boykoff, a professor, former professional footballer, and author of Red Card, the 2026 World Cup, Sports Washing, and the FIFA Greed Machine, put the contradiction at the heart of this tournament in a single sentence when he spoke to NPR in the days before the opening match. "I view the 2026 World Cup as a massive paradox," Boykoff said. "On one hand, it has more teams than ever participating. On the other hand, because of the policies of the Trump administration, it looks more like a World Cup of exclusion than inclusion. The travel ban was the foundation. But it was only the first layer of what fans would face attempting to attend the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States. Separate from the travel ban, the Trump administration introduced a visa bond policy in August 2025 targeting nationals from countries with high visa overstay rates or what the administration described as inadequate screening information. 5 nations whose football teams qualified for the 2026 World Cup were affected by the visa bond policy: Algeria, Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Tunisia. Fans from those countries who wanted to attend World Cup matches in the United States were initially required to pay a deposit of up to $15,000 to secure a standard B1/B2 visitor visa, a $15,000 deposit to buy a visa to attend a football match that FIFA had told the world would be open to everyone. The visa bond policy was temporarily suspended in May 2026 for fans who had already purchased tickets, a concession that arrived too late for most of the fans from those countries who had already made the calculation that the cost was prohibitive and abandoned their travel plans. The damage to the fan bases of those nations at the 2026 World Cup had already been done months before a single match was played, and then came the social media screenings. The US Customs and Border Protection Agency confirmed in May 2026 that it was conducting targeted social media screenings of travelers entering the United States for the World Cup. The screening program was designed, according to official statements, to identify individuals who might pose a security risk based on their online activity. In practice, what it meant is that fans who had posted critical comments about the Trump administration, negative opinions about immigration policy, critical perspectives on US foreign policy, posts expressing support for causes or governments the administration opposed, found their visa applications rejected or their previously approved travel authorizations revoked. Hundreds of fans across multiple countries discovered their visa status had been changed or canceled not because of criminal records, not because of security alerts, but because of what they had posted on social media. Of football fans, ordinary people who had saved for months or years to attend a World Cup, lost everything they had spent because an algorithm reviewed their Twitter or Instagram history and flagged them as undesirable. The president of a prominent Moroccan supporters organization, Azzedine Al-Atraoui, confirmed to multiple news outlets in the days before the tournament that more than 40 members of Moroccan football fan associations had been denied visas despite holding confirmed match tickets and hotel bookings. No explanation was provided to the fans who were rejected. No appeal mechanism was offered. No refund pathway was established. Scottish fans. From a country that has no travel ban, no visa bond, no security flag, and is one of the United States' closest political allies, reported widespread problems with their electronic system for travel authorization approvals being revoked without explanation in the weeks before the tournament. ESTA approvals for Scottish fans who had already purchased tickets were quietly switched from approved to denied by systems that provided no reason and no remedy. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani said publicly what many football administrators and fan organizations were saying privately. The denial of visas for journalists from certain countries, or the rejection of a visa for a coach of a team, as well as single-day visas for specific foreign national teams, Mamdani said, "This is anathema to what this tournament is supposed to be about." FIFA's response to Mayor Mamdani, to the Moroccan fan associations, to the Scottish supporters, to every individual fan whose World Cup dream was cancelled by a government database, was the same statement it has used for every single immigration controversy at this tournament. FIFA is not involved in host country immigration processes, including visa adjudications. In line with previous FIFA events, a host government ultimately determines who receives a visa and who is admitted into their country. It is the same sentence FIFA used when Somali referee Omar Artan, the 2025 African Referee of the Year, selected by FIFA to officiate at the World Cup, was denied entry at Miami International Airport and sent home. The same sentence FIFA used when Iraqi striker Ayman Hussein was detained for 7 hours at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. The same sentence FIFA used when Iraq's team photographer was denied entry entirely after more than 10 hours of detention. The same sentence FIFA used when Iran's entire ticket allocation, thousands of seats intended for Iranian supporters, was revoked days before the tournament began, leaving fans who had spent thousands on travel arrangements with no recourse and no tickets. FIFA used the same 11 words every single time. The Iran situation at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States represents perhaps the single most extraordinary set of circumstances any participating nation has ever faced at a World Cup in the entire history of the tournament. The United States and Israel attacked Iran on February 28, 2026. Less than 4 months before Iran was scheduled to play its opening World Cup match on American soil, Iran relocated its World Cup training base from Tucson, Arizona to Tijuana, Mexico, after the team received threats following social media posts by US officials. The Football Federation of Iran was required by the Trump administration to ensure that the Iranian team entered the United States only on the day of each match and departed the same evening. Not allowed to stay overnight in a country they were simultaneously at war with, Iran's Football Federation president, Mehdi Taj, was denied a visa to enter the United States to attend the World Cup draw in December 2025. A ceremony FIFA itself organized and hosted. More than a dozen Iranian coaching staff and federation officials did not receive visas for the tournament. Iran's ticket allocation for supporters was revoked entirely by FIFA days before the first match, leaving the Iranian national team to play their World Cup fixtures in the United States with no Iranian fans in the stadium. The Football Federation of Iran filed a formal protest with FIFA, describing the situation as a violation of FIFA regulations and a breach of the United States host country obligations. The Iranian embassy in Turkey stated publicly that the US conduct violates FIFA regulations and breaches the United States host obligations, and constituted politically biased interference in sport. FIFA's response was the 11-word statement. The human cost of what happened to fans at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States cannot be quantified in a single number. But some of the individual stories that have emerged since the tournament began give a sense of what minor inconvenience actually means to the people experiencing it. A Moroccan fan who had purchased 4 tickets to Morocco's group stage matches in Philadelphia. Total cost approximately $2,400. and paid for return flights and hotel accommodation totaling more than $3,500 received a visa denial with no explanation 11 days before his scheduled departure. The tickets were non-refundable. The accommodation was non-refundable. The flights were non-refundable. His total financial loss was more than $6,000. He was told by FIFA's official support channels that visa matters were outside FIFA's jurisdiction. A Senegalese fan who had posted a message on social media in 2024 criticizing us foreign policy in Africa, a post that had received fewer than 200 views, was informed through a CBP automated system that his ESTA travel authorization had been revoked. He had purchased tickets through FIFA's official ticketing platform. He had completed all required documentation. He had done everything FIFA asked him to do to attend the tournament. His ESTA was revoked because of 200 views on a social media post. Over 120 immigrants' rights organizations across the United States issued a formal travel warning before the tournament began, stating that fans, players, journalists, and other visitors traveling for the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup could be at risk of serious rights violations as the Trump administration doubles down on its draconian immigration and anti-human rights agenda. ICE agents were confirmed by U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin to be present at every World Cup stadium in the United States. Mullin stated that ICE would always do immigration enforcement at the venues. An unprecedented presence of federal immigration officers at a major international sporting event, operating in stadiums where hundreds of thousands of international visitors were attending matches. Unite Here, Local 11. The union representing workers at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles voted to strike in response to the threat of ICE deployment, citing fears that their members and their families could be detained. A last-minute agreement between the union and stadium operators included a clause allowing workers to walk off the job if they believed ICE posed a direct threat to their safety. The BBC calculated the total cost for an English family of 4 to attend the 2026 World Cup: accommodation, meals, transport, and tickets, at approximately £22,000, which is nearly $30,000. For a Scottish family of 4, the equivalent calculation came to over £25,000. Train tickets from New York City to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where the World Cup final will be held on July 19th, were priced at $150 during tournament dates, compared to a standard price of $12.90. A shuttle bus to the stadium was priced at $80. FIFA's own official ticketing platform listed the cheapest available seat for the final at $5,785. Against the maximum of $1,550 that was specified in the original US bid documentation submitted to FIFA and approved before the hosting rights were awarded. The New Jersey Attorney General Jennifer Davenport launched a formal investigation into FIFA's ticketing practices before the round of 32 matches had even begun. Davenport described FIFA's approach to ticket pricing as a gauntlet of confusion, fake scarcity, and impossibly high prices, and stated that her office was committed to conducting a thorough investigation of FIFA's conduct. FIFA's president Gianni Infantino defended the ticket pricing publicly, saying it was reflective of market rates. Infantino noted that FIFA had received 500 million ticket requests for the 2026 tournament, compared to 50 million combined for the previous 2 World Cups. He did not address the gap between the $1,550 maximum price committed to in the host bid and the $5,785 minimum price for the final that materialized in reality. He did not address the social media screenings. He did not address the Scottish fans whose ESTAs were revoked. He did not address the Moroccan fan associations whose members lost thousands. He did not address Iran's revoked ticket allocation or the federation officials who could not attend the draw for the tournament FIFA invited them to host. Gianni Infantino described all of it as minor inconveniences. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is halfway through its knockout stage. The football has been extraordinary. Upsets, records broken, moments that will be remembered for decades. And in between those moments, a pattern has been building that no quantity of extraordinary football can fully obscure. This is the most commercially successful World Cup in the history of the sport. FIFA's total tournament revenue is projected to reach $10.9 billion, up from $7 billion in Qatar and $5.3 billion in Russia. Broadcasting rights alone generated over $4.2 billion. Sponsorship generated $2.8 billion. Matchday revenue is projected at $3 billion, a 216% increase over Qatar 2022. And while FIFA was generating $10.9 billion, hundreds of fans were sitting at home having lost thousands on non-refundable tickets, hotels, and flights. Denied the tournament FIFA sold to them, excluded from the event FIFA built on their passion, and dismissed by FIFA's president as minor inconveniences. The World Cup final takes place on July 19th, 2026, at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The cheapest ticket costs $5,785. Gianni Infantino says that is reflective of market rates. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think FIFA should be held accountable for what happened to fans at this World Cup? And should FIFA ever be allowed to host another tournament in the United States again? I want to hear both sides. One more detail. Buried in the full accounting of what happened at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States deserves to stand on its own before this video ends. FIFA gave Donald Trump a prize in December 2025 at the official 2026 FIFA World Cup draw ceremony in the United States. Gianni Infantino presented Donald Trump with the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize. The same Donald Trump whose immigration policies were preventing fans from 39 countries from obtaining visas to attend the tournament FIFA was simultaneously holding the draw for. The same Donald Trump whose administration had already denied a visa to Iranian Football Federation President Mehdi Taj, preventing him from attending the very draw at which Infantino was handing his president a peace prize. The FIFA Peace Prize ceremony and Mehdi Taj's visa denial happened within weeks of each other in the same city. FIFA awarded a peace prize to the man whose policies were actively dismantling the conditions required to hold a peaceful, inclusive, genuinely global World Cup. Gianni Infantino has not been asked about this contradiction at a single press conference during the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States. The tournament continues. The knockout stage rolls forward. The football has been extraordinary. Genuinely, unmistakably extraordinary. And none of that is diminished by what happened in the visa offices, and the border checkpoints, and the social media screening algorithms that ran silently in the background while the matches were being played. But the fans who sat at home, having lost thousands of dollars on non-refundable tickets and hotels and flights. The Moroccan supporter who lost $6,000. The Senegalese fan whose ESTA was revoked over a social media post with 200 views. The Scottish supporters whose travel authorizations were quietly cancelled without explanation. The Iranian fans who never got to watch their team play. Those people are also part of the story of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They are the part Gianni Infantino called a minor inconvenience.